studying global environmental challenges. Today I'm here in my hometown of Bray to explore the town as it stands and to talk about the future impacts of climate change on the town.
Bray is Ireland's longest established seaside town. The development of the town that we see today is said to be largely thanks to the arrival of the railway in 1834, which allowed Bray to develop as a popular seaside resort and become known as the Brighton of Ireland. The town remained a popular beach holiday destination with Irish and UK holidaymakers until the 1970s and the advent of cheap international travel. Among the largest employers in Bray are the pharmaceutical, IT and cosmetic industries, and a number of business and retail parks are concentrated on the town's southern periphery. The main street comprises a mixture of chain stores and locally owned shops, with a number of discount stores and empty premises. However, the town also retains a tourist industry, with numerous hotels and guest houses. Additionally, Bray also has a high proportion of nursing homes considering its size. At least 10 nursing homes are located in the town, probably due in part to its location by the sea and relatively mild climate. The buildings in Bray are a mixture of modern residential estates built from the 1970s onwards and older period housing, including from the Victorian era. Bray has a beach of sand, shingle and stones, which is over 1.6 kilometres long, fronted by a Victorian promenade. The coastal stretch is dominated by Bray Head, which rises steeply, 241 metres above the sea. Another important geographical feature is the River Dargle, which enters the sea at the north end of Bray. Data from a synoptic centre at Dublin Airport, provided by Ireland's National Meteorological Service Met Éireann, offers 30-year averages for climate variables in Bray between 1981 and 2010. Beginning here with temperature, according to Met Éireann, the yearly average mean temperature for this time period in Bray was 9.8 degrees Celsius. The absolute maximum was 28.7 degrees Celsius and the absolute minimum was minus 12.2 degrees Celsius. From a monthly perspective, the average mean temperature was highest in July at 15.6 degrees Celsius and lowest in January and February at 5.3 degrees Celsius. In terms of sunshine hours, the average mean daily duration was 3.9 hours, while the greatest daily duration was 15.9 hours. If we take a look at rainfall, the average mean yearly total was 758 millimetres. The mean monthly total was highest in October with 79 millimetres and lowest in February with 48.8 millimetres. The average mean number of days with more than 1 millimetre of rain was 129, while the average mean number of days with more than 5 millimetres of rain was 42. According to the Met Éireann report, Ireland's Climate, the Road Ahead, for Ireland as a whole, the mean annual temperature has increased by approximately 0.8 degrees between 1900 and 2012.
This figure, taken from Met Éireann's publication Ireland's Climate, the Road Ahead, shows the areal distribution of temperature changes for 2041 to 2060, relative to 1981 to 2000, stratified by season. These projections are based on the IPCC's high emissions scenario, Representative Concentration Pathway 8.5. Bray is located halfway down Ireland's east coast at 53 degrees north. Spring shows a projected increase in temperature of around 1 degree, with more warming expected in the east than in the west. Autumn shows a similar east-west pattern, but with greater warming up to 1.5 or 1.4 degrees for this scenario. Summer temperatures show increases of 1.5 degrees in the southeast. The precise increase for the east coast is less clear, but can be expected to be between 1.2 degrees and 1.7 degrees. As the report tells us, changes in the daily maximum and daily minimum temperatures are arguably of more immediate importance to people, since extreme events will have an abrupt and much larger impact. Figure 3 from the same report shows how the warmest 5% of daily maximum summer temperatures are projected to change under high and low to medium emission scenarios. Most regions experience an increase of 1.8 to 2.2 degrees under the high emission scenario and a 1.4 to 1.8 degrees increase for the medium to low emission scenario. As we can see from the figure, warming is greatest in the south and the east where Bray is located. What could the impact of these temperature changes be on a town like Bray? Apart from the increase in daily maximum temperatures, the IPCC Special Report on Extremes tells us that it is very likely that the length, frequency and/or intensity of warm spells or heat waves will increase over most land areas. In a report for Ireland's Environmental Protection Agency, Haskell et al. Identified increased mortality during spells of sustained hot weather in Ireland and suggested that a maximum temperature above 25 degrees for at least 3 days could be considered a heat wave. The high population of elderly people in Bray's nursing homes will be particularly vulnerable to the increase in periods of sustained high temperatures. Although at the same time it shall be acknowledged that milder winters will on average reduce cold-related mortality rates among the elderly and the frail. The EPA also notes that projected temperature increases in Ireland are less than those for the rest of Europe, and Ireland may become a holiday destination for respite. With Bray being positioned less than 30 kilometres from the airport and by the sea, it is possible that the town could re-emerge as a popular holiday resort. As temperatures increase, reduced space heating will be required in the buildings of towns like Bray. However, there may be an increase in the need for air conditioning. The changes in temperatures described here will be similar for Dublin, which could have transboundary impacts for Bray. Dubliners may be more tempted to seek housing outside of the city by the coast, but within easy travelling distance, which could put pressure on the already sprawling town of Bray. Inhabitants from the capital seeking relief from the city heat for the day may also boost tourism in the town. Figure 3, taken from Ireland's Climate the Road Ahead, shows seasonal percentage change in precipitation for the high emission scenario. Changes for mid-century, 2041 to 2060, are shown relative to the past, 1981 to 2000. The figure tells us that under this scenario, Bray would experience little change in winter rainfall, a 2 to 4% decrease in spring rainfall, and an 8 to 12% decrease in summer rainfall, with little change to autumn rainfall. Figure 4 shows seasonal change in the percentage of very wet days of more than 20 millimetres of precipitation for winter. Changes for mid-century, again, are shown relative to the past. We see that for the medium to low scenario, the Bray area would experience a 3 to 12% increase. The report notes that regional distributions may not be robust. However, overall, the increased frequency of very wet days is well marked in the winter, particularly for the high emissions case. Changes in the occurrence of extreme rainfall, as shown in Figure 4, are particularly important because of the link with flooding, which could prove an important impact of climate change in Bray. There is a history of flooding in the low-lying area of Bray, mainly due to the River Dargle overtopping the riverbanks in times of high rainfall. This has occurred 4 times in the last century, most recently in 1986 when Hurricane Charlie hit and businesses and homes adjacent to the river were badly damaged. Coastal flooding has also been a problem historically in Bray. These photos, provided by Councillor John Grady, were taken in January 2014 following a flood. Coastal flooding may be exacerbated by the end of the century when, according to Met Éireann, storm wave heights in Ireland will likely increase in spring and in winter. This coastal map, produced by Ireland's Office of Public Works, represents the potential flood extent along the Dargle in Bray under a projected future scenario for the year 2100. The green area along the Dargle shows that there is a 0.5% annual exceedance probability, or 1 in 200 chance, of floods occurring or being exceeded there in any one year. So as you can see, a flood protection scheme has already begun along the River Dargle and it's now 35% complete. But before the protection scheme began, an impact assessment revealed that if there was a 1 in 100 year flood, it would affect residential property along the River Dargle and land to the north and south of the river, all the way from the harbour to the N11 interchange, which is the main national road into Bray. It would cause significant damage to commercial property, including to a nearby shopping centre and golf club lands. As Bray Bridge, one of the main roads into the town, would also be affected, access to the town would be severely limited, therefore impacting upon commercial activity within the town as a whole. The environment would also be affected by habitat change through erosion, soil exposure and tree death, followed by recolonisation, initially mostly of weedy invasive species. Floodwaters would also carry pollutants from road and car park surfaces such as oil, petrol, diesel and heavy metals into the river, as well as quantities of soil. These substances all impact negatively on the water quality and its suitability for the survival of aquatic organisms.